Pleasantville, even the Gun Hill, from Freeman Street to Prospect Avenue, Fordham Road, Coral City to Elder Avenue, Valley Park, Eaton Wall to Bronx River, Bronx Deal, Soundview, Esbar, baby. I'm boogie down like this Choke King, Mario is in the playground.
Hey everybody, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night. You never know where people are listening to their podcast. Could be any time of day. Could be, we were just talking about early in the morning. Could be any time. Welcome to the Bronx Music Podcast with me, Gary Axelbank. This is episode number, somebody was going to clap. You could clap. That's okay.
Let's make some noise. Let's go.
This is episode number 5. And, you know, we started this thing 5 months ago, and when I was thinking about episode number 5, it made me think of the album title, What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. Anybody know whose album that was? Am I the only one in the house who knows? It was the Doobie Brothers. Look it up. What were once vices are now habits. And we're getting into this habit here at The Artist on City Island Avenue, and it's really a pleasure. We want to welcome DJ Mike and Jackie for pitching in this week to be our tech people. Thank you so much. And of course to Elliot Glick and Monica Glick, whose house this is, The Artist on City Island. And here we are with Johnny 7. Can you count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
You're 7.
Johnny 7, and he brought along Mike Golden, and we're going to talk to Mike today too, which apparently is something that needs to be done, and we're going to make that happen.
That's part of the contract.
Johnny is a high-intensity individual, and I'm going to say something that's going to make him upset right away. How about those Rangers? Was that horrible? See? That was the worst thing I could have said.
You know,
talk about putting your guest in a bad mood.
I had to switch to cricket after that. That's how depressed I was.
Actually, I saw that on your Facebook page that you posted. Boy, that's a good cricket match. Anyway, let's just talk about being an intense person. How does the intensity that is in your music, kind of in the way that you behave, how does that translate into your life? In other words, or should I go the other direction?
I think it's the other way around.
The other way around.
It's the intensity of my life that it goes into the music, and probably then back again.
Okay, what intensity is there in your life? Talk about
just
what drives you.
Honestly, I grew up on Findlay Avenue and 167th Street until I was about 12 years old in Morrisania section of the South Bronx. My father died when I was 10 years old. I was the oldest of 6 kids. And I think my goal always after that was to not be poor. Okay, so
you came to the Starving Artist Cafe,
I came to this, yes.
and decided to be a local musician. Good idea.
But it gives you the drive, right? It gives you the drive to do the other things. And you know, I was a principal in the Bronx for many years.
I was about to bring that up.
And it all kind of came together. The music and the work and the life, they're not separate things. They're not separate from one another. They blend together. And I think that, at least in my case, that's what kept me going in every way.
But you left the job as a principal, even though there was a good pension and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, no, I retired at the age of 55.
Oh,
yeah.
Not that anybody's counting.
But there are many people that stay in that job for much longer than they should.
You didn't want to be one of those
and
people.
I wanted to be, I loved the work that I did. I worked in Hunts Point. I loved the people in Hunts Point. I was there for 12 years. I dug it. And I didn't want to ever be in a situation like some of my friends have been, where they stay too long and they go home with a bad taste in their mouth and they can never get rid of that taste. So I can always tell you, it was a great time. I loved it. Thank you to the kids. Thank you to the parents. You helped me make a living. And the teachers, absolutely.
Of course. And then at what point, see now when I said to them, while we're talking, you don't have to have the guitar in your hands, Johnny said, no, I'm good with the guitar. At what point in this chronology did the guitar show up?
The guitar showed up when I was about 14 years old. The person that got me interested in it more than anybody was Bob Dylan.
You know, I knew it was either going to be Bob Dylan or, of course, John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Yeah. No, the Beatles. I remember when the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show. But I'm not one of these guys that say, "Oh, I saw the Beatles," and
but it was
I grabbed
Bob
the
Dylan.
guitar. Yeah.
Well, you know, we've had this
Bob Dylan.
conversation in other with other guests. I have said that I believe Bob Dylan taught me how to think. That I looked at the world and I really didn't know what it was or make sense of it, but Bob Dylan's lyrics taught me how to look at it, how to think about it, and how to, of course, get into broadcasting and music and everything
Right,
else.
and I think he continues to do that. Whether
I heard it. This is well off the track of where I thought we were going, but I heard a track yesterday that was an alternative take of Joker Man, and I had to listen to it twice because the lyrics were like, "My life, our lives." I couldn't believe it. Okay, so here it is, a review from 2000, just what you needed, 24 years ago. Johnny 7 is this magical lineup of vagabond musicians that, when put together, create a sound that comes straight from the heart and is more uplifting, moving, and ballsy than anything the music industry could ever pump out.
I'll take that.
You like that? But that separates you from the music industry. Just talk about the notion of success and how do you view success for your band that has played for, more years than I can count, and yet you play in all our local houses and you just do it with more passion than many musicians.
Well, I'd never, we started to record CDs because that was kind of the thing that you do. If you're going to have a band, you're going to get it together, you're going to write your songs, you're going to put out CDs, and we were able to do that. And there are 5 of them on all the streaming services, Apple Music, we're everywhere just like everybody else. The interesting thing about it is, for me, that in combination with a fair amount of college radio play, that was success. Okay, so if it didn't get any better than that, that's cool with me.
You are just a beautiful guy. I just had to laugh about a couple of things. Number one, if it got played on college radio, I saw it as success. There's something really romantic about that. Because it's about the music and about what you feel like you need to say.
And you want people to hear it, and however they get to hear it, that's fine with me. Whether they listen to the podcast, whether they go on Pandora and the Johnny 7 song comes up, it's all part of the success. And it enabled me in many ways to live the rest of my life the way I did.
There's no point in doing a podcast if we can't reveal inside stuff. But I sent Johnny an email earlier this week and said, because a lot of artists who come on this, and I'm well aware of what artists want to do, and I said, so you got a CD you want to sell, or something you want me to promote for you? And you said, at this point, let's just give them away. So, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for somebody who believes in music, who lives for the music. One more question for you, and then we're going to turn to the guy on the left, on your left. What does music do for you personally, and why have you, since the age of 14, kept that guitar on your lap? Don't dare take it away.
I don't know what it does because it's always there. I would be more afraid of what would happen if it were not there.
Don't take my love away.
Because there'd be something missing. And I don't want to find out what that is.
All right. So then, again, revealing the inside. Johnny put on his Facebook page, suggesting that I wouldn't do this, but he said, hopefully we'll get, regarding the man to his left, Mike Golden, hopefully we'll get him a speaking part and some camera time, as if we weren't going to do that. The guy's a legend on his own, and this part I love, and refuses to be treated like a potted plant. Mike, have you ever been treated like a potted plant? And if so, I apologize for whoever did that.
No.
Mike, just tell me about your growth in music, your love of music, the fact that you play all the time, and just give us a little background.
Just Love doing it. Like Johnny, since I was 13 years old. In 8th grade, I started playing guitar and took a few lessons. Now, with me, it was more the Beatles and the Stones, and I knew Dylan, too.
I've heard this before from
Yeah.
people, yes.
But I'm older than Johnny, so that could be part of it.
I chose not to reveal that part of it.
That's all right.
And what was it? And then you kept playing. Did you play in bands? Did you just want to play lead guitar like Keith Richards or George
Played
Harrison?
in bands over the years. Played bass in the first band I was in. A bunch of guys on 3rd Avenue on 83rd Street. Because I was living down on, we were born over on 174th and Park. So Bronx all my life, all the way, still there. Met some famous people.
Name one.
Ace Frehley, Kiss guitar player, lived right in
I was about to say,
near the neighborhood.
Bronx people? Yeah.
Yeah. And the Pepe Castro from the Blues Magoos lived across the street from him. But you know, those guys are older than me, so I didn't hang out.
This
all
has
the
become
time.
a thing, the age thing. Okay,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. I'm okay.
But played guitar all through my life. Played in Irish bands for years, and really that was my job for a while. Took a detour into the New York State court system for 30 years as a court officer.
Wait. That was really open-ended.
That came out odd.
As a court officer and a clerk.
Oh, okay, yeah. Some people take a 30-year detour, and that's not the
played,
best news.
Played Christmas parties and holiday parties in the rotunda in the courthouse, which is still legendary down there.
Wow, I'll have to ask about that. And then, bring it up to date. How'd you get to this guy?
We knew each other really from listening to each other for years through just gigs and stuff, but not personally. And during COVID, Johnny, who was the guy who started the Home Remedy?
Was Jared Murphy.
Yeah, Johnny
Jared Murphy.
said there was going to be a...
Jared is now a nurse.
Yes, yes.
But anyway,
Thank
there was
you.
going to be a Zoom cast every Thursday during COVID, and we all got involved in that. Johnny got me involved in it through COVID. When that ended and people were coming out again, we started playing in person, and that's how we got here.
So there's a good news story out of this horrible pandemic that we went through. And to me, and now folks may or may not know, I saw them at Anbilbach Cafe just the other night, as a matter of fact. And I had the sense from watching the two of you play together that it looks and feels like you've been doing this together for a very long time. But if you only did it since COVID, I mean, we could do that in fingers of one hand. Johnny, why is he a good companion for you?
Well, he's not. He's a gift.
Oh, he was a gift.
He's a gift. I say that all the time.
Well, he was talking about his age. I don't know if his mom is still around, but thanks to Mike's mom.
And what you said is we feel that way. We feel like, all right, we've only been playing
Definitely.
together really for three years or so, but we feel like we've been together for a long time.
What is the communication between you, or what works? Again, you brought up the Beatles, like John and Paul. Like, what really works here between you?
I think some of it is that Mike is, obviously I do a lot of my own original material. Mike is a very talented songwriter as well. And the way we kind of switched it up when we brought it together was that we'll do 2 sets, and Mike will do 6 or 7 of his songs, and I'll do 6 or 7 of my songs, and then we'll throw in 6 or 7 cover songs that people could get into, and it's a nice mix.
I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's your band. I'd seen you perform before. I was surprised that you relinquished so much of the spotlight to the guy next to you. In other words, you were like, well, here he goes.
Yeah.
And you are obviously totally comfortable with that.
Oh, man, yeah.
How do you keep the group together? Now there were the other women who are the musicians. Were they in the street with us here at the Arts Fair?
Dina, who plays
Dina's
cello
here.
for us a lot,
Dina's
she's here, and we also work with Debbie Hertz, who's a percussionist and plays the stringed harp. But she's she's up visiting her son in Ithaca today.
This version of the band, how long has it been around?
This For about 4 weeks.
Because if you see them, not only, I mean, it's a rock band, but there's a cellist.
Yeah.
And
There's no real drummer or bass player, but it still rocks.
It definitely rocks. You played a rock and roll version of James Taylor's "Fire and Rain." I had never even conceived that song could be played like that.
Well, and neither had I, but then it happened that way. And there's kind of a sad story behind that. I mean, it's a very
sad story.
Very sad
it's
song
a sad
to begin
song.
with.
Yeah.
But one of the things about me is I always like to be able to play other people's songs in addition to my own, but I'm not that good, so I can't learn them. I can't learn them the way that they played it on the record. I could never do what James Taylor does on that. So I said, okay, we give it the Johnny 7 treatment, which is kind of like what James Taylor would sound like if he had a couple of shots of whiskey and a bottle of Budweiser before he sang the song.
Does Mike Golden endorse that sort of behavior?
He doesn't engage in it himself, but he has no problem with others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
In a word, yes. Well, listen, I want to play. Let's play one track. We're going to do 2 tracks playing, and then we'll keep talking because it is a podcast. And so, because they're just sitting there, you're just like they can't not play.
They're itching, man.
I know they got to at least play. So, who's going to introduce, and what are we going to say?
Okay, so this song it's a song I try to avoid playing because people always want to hear it.
We're honored,
and I'm
we're
basically
thrilled.
an oppositional person. The song is called "Bronx Backyard." And then it's one of my more popular songs, and it's a song that especially people who live in the Bronx, they hear it and they really connect with it. The interesting thing about at least part of this song is it was written in about 1995, and there's a line in there about the New York Yankees. I'm a Met fan. I don't root for the Yankees. But there's a line in there about the New York Yankees because it was at that time when they were trying to get a renovation or a new stadium, and Steinbrenner was threatening to move them to New Jersey. So the line in the song is, the New York Yankees, let them move. Georgie doesn't care nothing about you and me. Now, if I had a different line in that song, the song may have been received differently.
You became the enemy.
I could have made it more popular by taking a different approach. But if you know me, that's not something I'm going to do. So that's the way it goes.
So, as we say in the Bronx, tough noogies.
And yes,
that's
so, and this is kind of a time period. It's a time period. If you listen, there's a line in there about kinky reggae on Gun Hill Road when they used to have that was a big reggae scene on Gun Hill Road, and they had Brad's Records.
Now it's moved a little further east over to Wakefield, I think. But I will say, I know that he doesn't play it a lot, or maybe he doesn't like to play it. I requested it. I said, for the Bronx Music Podcast, you got to play in my Bronx Backyard.
And I wouldn't disagree with that.
All right, fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny 7 and Mike Golden.
1, 2, 3, 4. I rode my bicycle the other day on my seat, and I'm on my way, pedaling up Bedford Park Hill. The Grand Concourse still gives me a thrill. Orchard Beach, Long Island Sound, Hudson River flows through the whole damn town. See the train man, he gives a toot. Tree in Kingsbridge bearing rich red fruit. You see, it's no different from where you stand. Going to work, living off the land. Some days up, some days not. Some days life gets real hard. in my Bronx backyard. Kinky reggae on Gun Hill Road, Latino comics on my TV, the New York Yankees, let them move. Georgia don't care nothing about you and me. 238th Street is out tonight to watch the moon slip away. Little girl does her homework by the street light, but like she does it, like she does it, like she does it, like she does it every day. Oh, we got no free man play rock and roll. Little boys got rhythm, little girls got soul. We do what we like, we do what we could. In the end, it's all good in my Bronx backyard. In my Bronx backyard, 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 in my Bronx backyard. Ooh.
There you go.
Thank you.
Here we are, the Bronx Music Podcast in your Bronx backyard.
Why
on
not?
City Island at the Artist. You know, Mike, you talked about the Bronx, that you grew up in the Bronx, he grew up in the Bronx, I grew up in the Bronx. Is there a personality in the Bronx that influences your art, your music? I mean, you talked about meeting musicians, but what do you see out here that kind of, I use the word informs the music?
I don't know about a personality. Just I just grew up meeting a lot of guitar players and other musicians, and just getting ideas off of each other.
I'm going to throw something out because just chatting with you guys, I don't really know you real well, but I feel like we know each other. He mentioned 238th Street, which is home to me, but there's a commonality. I feel like when I walk into the deli, I feel like I know, it doesn't matter what neighborhood I'm in, I feel like I know the people. You know, a familiarity. You want to say something?
And I think that's unique to the Bronx. The Bronx is a big place. I don't know how many people, 1.5 million people, whatever. It's
1.4.
It's very diverse. There are all different kinds of people here. But if you meet, especially if you're somewhere else and you meet somebody from the Bronx, it's like, oh, this is my brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is my sister. All right, and I think that's unique to us.
How often do you write music? Or do you wake up in the morning every day and say,
No. At this point,
well, you have a straight job, right? You still have a job.
I don't work too much, you know. Once in a while.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, I'd rather not work. But
Get online, buddy.
It more comes from inspiration. It's not like I never get up in the morning and say I have to write a song.
Do you practice every day?
Yeah.
You do practice every day?
Play the guitar every day.
And with other people or just on
Not
your-
necessarily.
And what about you, Mike? You play every day?
Just about, yeah.
Johnny is wearing a T-shirt there, and I wanted to point it out. Not that I particularly care about the fashion, but but the logo on there. Tell me about Mike Golden's concert for Bob.
Thank you for asking about that, Gary. The concert to benefit Calvary Hospital, concert for Bob. It started about maybe 2008 was the first one. I had a good friend and a drummer, Bob Landy. He passed away in 2007 from cancer, and passed away in Calvary. And at the time, I had asked his widow whether I could throw a benefit for the family, and she said no. But she said, if you want to do something for Calvary, that would be good. So we got the first concert. We got all bands together, people that we knew as musicians.
So this is for Calvary?
Yes.
Wow.
It's been always for Calvary every year. And the 12th one will be coming up on November 16th in Mr. Viggs up in Riverdale. And I don't have the lineup secured totally yet, but there will be 7 or 8 or 9 musical acts, including Johnny Seven.
Did you have to twist his arm? No. He was good.
No, he was good about it, even though I didn't get his name on the
They
T-shirt.
didn't even put
last
my
year.
name on the shirt, man. Come on.
Well, he's very good about it.
Because I didn't know if I was going to show up. I said, I think I'll be there, but I don't know. So on the back of this shirt, it says, mystery guest. That was me.
That's you. There you go.
We have a lot of support. We raise, I mean, it's not a mega fundraiser, but we raise $6,000.
How much money have you raised over the years?
It's probably about 75,000.
Oh, okay. Not a big
so they should
fundraiser.
build a statue for you.
Listen, it's really a beautiful thing, and I'll say this publicly. We can definitely promote it on the Bronx Buzz. So just get to me, a month beforehand, so we have
That'd be
time to
great.
do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
We definitely will do that. But that's really the power of music, right? Mike, do you write? Do you write stuff?
Yeah.
Does he let you play it?
Johnny he really does let me play a lot of my songs.
I know. We heard one the other night. It was great. And do you get up and play in the morning every morning?
I play every day, but I have a few different instruments. I'll pick up.
Oh, really?
Play the violin, the mandolin, and the guitar. So I'll try to mix it up between the 3 of them.
Did you ever take lessons?
Yes.
And on what instrument, or specifically?
We started on guitar. There was right on Fordham Plaza there, where they have the huge buildings down there now, where the El Dorado bar used to be. There was an old Italian guy and his daughter Irma. $3 for a half-hour guitar lesson. She taught me how to read music, a string a week, and I learned how to read music.
Do you read music?
No.
Somehow I knew he didn't read.
I can barely read
don't need
English.
You don't need it for rock and roll.
Well, some do, some don't. I'm going to ask one question, and then we're going to do another song. Where did Johnny Seven come from? What's the
name?
Why not Johnny Six?
Okay, so I had been in a bunch of punk rock bands at various times, and they had names, Bug Out, Radio Red, different names. So my name was not there, and it was not seen by anybody. So my real name is John Hughes, and I didn't want to use that name because at the time I had a stalking situation. Okay,
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.
And yeah, I know
It was a little unexpected.
strange as it sounds. And I didn't want to, in those days, if you played somewhere and you played downtown, it was all in the Village Voice, okay? And I couldn't put my own name, John Hughes, in the Village Voice because who knows who might show up. So I had this friend, Mike, who started to call me Johnny Seven.
That's not him.
Mike. And it turns out that the Johnny Seven was one of two things. It was some kind of toy that they have, and you could look it up. It's like Johnny Seven, one-man army.
Vaguely remember that.
And then there was an actor named Johnny Seven who was on Ironsides and was always played the bad guy on Batman.
Of course.
And he actually found out and called me and kept me on the phone once for an hour and a half.
Did he tell you he was going to sue you?
No, he was thrilled. He gave me total permission.
Oh, that's good.
He was very proud of it. And then there was also a kids show, which I never saw, and the host was named Johnny Seven. So I don't know where he came up with it, but he gave me the name, and I kept it.
Well, there you go. I'm going to read one more review, and then we're going to ask you guys to play another song. Here's a review. It's here for people who like to hear something with its own identity that makes you listen, makes you dance, and makes you crave to hear it time and time again. So what do we got?
Okay, so this song is
He's
called...
going to have his Bob Dylan harmonica
Well, I
there.
do have the harmonica rack. This song is probably one of the more popular Johnny Seven songs, and was once #1 on WRHU in the Hofstra University radio station, and they played it so much that people would call up and say, "Would you please stop playing that song?" Okay, so this...
So that goes with that review that said you wanted to hear it time and time again.
Now the thing about this song also is it was written years ago when the post office was actually a thing, okay? And so it
Wait, what do you mean by that? Well, before we had FedEx and UPS
all
and
this other
Amazon
stuff.
and everything else.
Absolutely. But I wrote it after
Excuse me, I have to laugh. When the post office was
a
really
thing.
a thing.
It was. It was a gathering
no longer
place,
a thing.
man.
Okay.
So
gangsters.
I'm online at the post office one day. It's probably around, no, it had to be like in the early 90s. And there was a big line, and everybody was trying to buy stamps, but nobody was selling stamps. And there was a guy that kept coming out and says, "Anybody have parcel post package?" And nobody wanted it. They wanted to buy stamps. So this guy comes out about 8 times, and the people are getting mad because they just want to buy stamps. So he comes out, "Anybody need packages, parcel post, blah, blah, blah." And a lady behind me crouched down behind me, an old lady, and yelled, "Sell stamps, you lazy bastard." And I went home.
Ever a Bronx story, huh?
And I went home and wrote, "Let's go to the post office."
All right, here it is.
How to spend an afternoon. It's raining outside, there's nothing to do. I got no money to blow away, but I'd like to spend it with you. Fun we've had, but you look real sad. Some coffee, we'll get a cup, 'cause I can see where we will be to pick your spirits up. Let's go to the post office, I hear they're open till 6. Let's go to the post office, find out what makes us tick. Let's go to the post office, hold hands in the corner all day. Let's go to the post office, and everything'll be okay. I could die just to be with you, girl. Can't you see I want you around? We'll look for something in this rotten world, with a head in the air, a feet on the ground. Round the corner, down the block. Baby, we don't need no car. We'll leave the phone number with your mama so she can know where you are. Let's go to the post office, I hear they're open till 6. Let's go to the post office, find out what makes us tick. Let's go to the post office, hold hands in the corner all day. Let's go to the post office, and everything'll be okay. Oh, don't worry, they won't throw us out, no. We got what it takes. The place is ours, we can run and shout, because the mailmen, they're taking their breaks. Let's go to the post office, I hear they're open till 6. Let's go to the post office, find out what makes us tick. Let's go to the post office, hold hands in the corner all day. Let's go to the post office, and everything'll be okay. Let's go to the post office, we'll tear my picture off the wall. Let's go to the post office, wait for your mama to call. Let's go to the post office, hold hands in the corner all day. Let's go to the post office, and everything'll be okay. Take it home, Michael. Thank you.
Did they ever take the picture off the wall?
I hope
That's
not.
right.
You know, when I hear, Johnny, when I hear your music, I always want to say afterwards, gee, tell us how you really feel. Because, I mean, you just right out there.
I don't have much of a poker face in real life, and I don't have much of a poker face in my music. You're just getting what you get. You know?
Listen, so guys, just before we wrap it up, so what's next? You got some gigs? You always have gigs, right?
Well, if you check my Facebook page and it just says Johnny 7, I'll always tell you when we're playing. We're usually once a month at Anvilbach. Our basic policy is if people call and they want us to do a gig, we're happy to do the gig as long as you have a working electrical outlet. We're pretty good. So.
Listen, I'm going to lobby right now. You should play here. Play here at the Artist. This is a funky house, and Elliot and Monica do an amazing job. I see people enjoying the pastries. We got to say thank you to Jenny's Sweets, who makes the homemade pastries. I don't know if the Jenny Sweets get more applause than the podcast, but it might be worth it because they're really, really good. But listen, I do want to thank Johnny 7 and Mike Golden, you guys.
Thank you, my brother.
I was going to say my Bronx brothers, man. That's who we are. And the reason that we do this podcast, like it or not, music fuels this borough, and we have people from all over the world, and we have music from all over the world, and as much as we can do to promote that and represent that, that's what we try and do. But you guys are the best, and they'll keep going. We'll keep watching them and everything else. So let's see. Next month, this is going to be very exciting. July 7th, right here on this stage, the Bronx Music Podcast features 2024 Bronx Walk of Fame inductee and world-renowned music producer Amadeus. He has produced Jennifer Lopez, French Montana, Chris Brown, 50 Cent, Justin Bieber, Keisha Cole, Busta Rhymes, just to name a few. He's going to be here. We'll talk about his life in the Bronx. He's a Bronx boy, and that's going to be real exciting. 1 o'clock on Sunday, July 7th. And our thanks, much love. We share love with Elliot and Monica. Thank you so much for having us, for hosting us. DJ Mike and Jackie, who are here, they're getting married. DJ Mike is the CEO and founder of Sounds and Sirens. And our editor is George Williams, couldn't be here today. So we thank you. Love the Bronx, love Bronx music, and we'll be back next month on July 7th. Thanks to the Artist. We'll see you around town.
Even the Gun Hill, from Freeman Street to Prospect Avenue, for the road.